Hey everyone, how's it going? Well, I literally just sat down a couple of minutes ago, hit the record button on the camera, and then my doorbell rang and I had to get up and go answer the door. And this was waiting for me, this crazy monstrosity of a tripod head. I mean, look at the size of this thing. I mean, it is absolutely huge. In case you don't know what this is a geared tripod head. This is made by Benro. It's not a ball head, it's not a fluid head, it is a geared head, which means you have these 3 different dials here, and you're able to use these in order to make micro adjustments to the pan and to the tilt of the camera to get it perfectly level. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to travel with this thing, but I would be curious to know if anyone out there is using this geared head. How do you like it? Do you enjoy using it? How well does it hold up? Do you travel with it? What do you do with it? Let me know, would love to hear your thoughts because I'm gonna be testing this out, using it, and gonna make a future video about it. All right, everyone, thanks for being here. This video today is on the topic of photography composition. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about aspect ratio. Now, I would bet most people probably don't think about their aspect ratio all that much. An image is either 3:2, 2:3, maybe 4:5, or an 8:10, 5:7, maybe a 16:9, or even wider if creating a panoramic image. But I think aspect ratio is super interesting because it can affect the way that people see your image. And it's also a tool that you can use as a photographer creatively, both in the field and in post when editing and cropping images. So I've been thinking about creative ways in which I can demonstrate and visualize for you the concept of aspect ratio in the way that I've been thinking about it recently. I don't know if this is 100% going to make sense or if it's gonna work, but I wanna give it a try. So what we have here is, obviously, this is a rubber band. Now, a rubber band by itself is amorphous. It has no shape. It doesn't have shape until you do something with it, which we can do now by stretching this rubber band into the shape of a square. Now, a square, to state the obvious, is square. The width of the shape is equal to the height. There is a 1-to-1 relationship between the width of the shape and its height. And by the way, you can make the square as small as you want or as large as you want, and it's always proportional. It's always even. There's always that 1-to-1 relationship between the width and the height. And this is part of the reason why a square, and a circle for that matter, are referred to sometimes as resting shapes, because there is no tension in the shape. It is entirely symmetrical. It's not being pulled in one way or another. But what happens if we do that? Well, let's take the square and let's just stretch it out into a rectangle like this. Now, this obviously looks like a 3:2 aspect ratio, like a landscape photo. Now the shape is no longer at rest. We have introduced tension into the shape because it is now asymmetrical. And that tension can be felt across the shape because there is now more energy moving left and right across the rectangle than there is moving up and down within the shape. So what happens if we fill this shape with something? For example, if we put a photograph inside of here and it's no longer empty. Well, this edge, this rubber band that you see here, becomes the frame of the image. It's where the image begins and it's where the image ends. And for this next part, I want to offer a little quiz, a little something that I want you to take a look at. So image number 1, this is a 2:3 aspect ratio shape. Obviously, there's nothing in it. Right now, it's just a blank canvas. So let's fill it with a subject. And I'm just gonna put a black rectangle inside of here. All right, so that's the first image. Now take a look at image number 2. So using your memory, which image had the longer black rectangle? If you picked image number 1, you are wrong, sorry to say. Which means if you picked image number 2, well, you're also wrong. Sorry, trick question, but the right answer is neither. The black rectangle is the exact same in both images. All I did was just rotate it from one to the other. Now, obviously this poll isn't scientific, but I would bet most people, perhaps you as well, picked image number 1 because the black rectangle looks larger in that image than it does in image number 2. So why is that? Why does the black rectangle in the first image appear longer than the one in the second? Well, because we're human beings. It's impossible for us to view the subject in isolation. We can't see it by itself. We are viewing the subject in the context of an outer shape that is influencing our perception of it. So to get back to our rubber band analogy here for just a moment, a 2x3 portrait image like this, there is tension that is moving up and down within the shape. This is what we talked about just a minute ago. And that tension isn't just something that you need a rubber band in order to feel or to understand. Tension is something that you see with your own eyes. When you view a shape, a square or a circle appears more harmonious to your eyes and to your mind because it is proportional, because it is equal, because all sides are in harmony with one another, as opposed to any other type of shape, which is being stretched and is asymmetrical, and tension is being introduced, either this way or along this way. And the fact that the 2x3 shape has more tension moving vertically within the shape is affecting your perception of that black rectangle. It's almost like there's a compounding effect where when the geometry of the subject matches the frame, energy and tension is increased. When the geometry of the subject is the opposite of its frame, energy and tension is decreased. So, okay, cool. So what this means, photographically speaking, is that if you wanted to enhance the verticality of a subject, well, you would place it within a vertical frame. And the same goes for a horizontal aspect ratio. If you wanted to enhance the horizontality of your subject and make it feel even wider, well, you would run it across in a landscape orientation. Or if you wanted to push it even further, go all the way out. I'm acting like I'm holding a rubber band here. Or if you wanted to push it all the way out into a panoramic shape, well, you could do that too. And that would just further magnify the effect. But here's the interesting thing. There is, I believe, a tipping point. A point at which this approach of using the frame to enhance the geometry of the subject, eventually it doesn't work. Eventually you reach a point where the viewer gets bored. The viewer gets bored because the image is one-dimensional. It lacks contrast. There is too much energy and tension and flow moving in one direction. And I think this is the reason why, especially in landscape photography, why some landscape images, and Lord knows I have taken a number of these myself, end up being rather dull when you get back and look at them in post. For example, here's an image here that I shot. And I remember so well, like being in this landscape, like this is out in the highlands of Iceland in summer. It's just amazing, just absolutely incredible being out there and looking around with your own eyes and seeing this amazing vista. And it's your responsibility as a photographer. This is essentially what the job of a photographer is to frame what it is that you're seeing through here. Like, it's not the kind of thing that you're gonna be able to capture in its entirety, so you have to squeeze everything down into this little window here so that it makes sense to the user, so that the user is able to appreciate what it is that you're seeing. And you can't get all this, so there has to be some way of reducing and simplifying in order to get the image into a shape like this. And that's the frustrating thing about an image like this, because when I captured the image, I thought, oh wow, this is gonna be great, this is gonna be awesome. But when you get back and you look at it objectively, and you forget about the moment, you forget about the experience of being there, and you're just viewing it for what it is, well, you can clearly see, at least I do looking at this, that there is too much horizontality in the image. All the lines are running left to right and right to left within the image. There is no verticality in the image whatsoever. I mean, maybe there is a little bit because there is like a landscape that is slowly building up to those peaks in the back, but everything for the most part is just like this. There's not much else going on, and there's no through line. There is nothing vertical within the shot in order to disrupt that energy flow, in order to reduce that tension and make the image feel more balanced. So as a result, I got an image that is one-dimensional. It's just doing this, and that's it. All the energy is flowing in one direction. And by the way, and while we're having a therapy session with me about my creative struggles with landscape photography, this is part of the reason why I think I've always struggled to create panoramic images, because a panoramic image is even wider. Like, there is so much tension and energy that is flowing left to right within the frame that the need for verticality within the shot at certain points across, almost like architecture, almost like you're building a floor, at certain points you need some stabilizing columns. You need something across in order to be holding up that wide aspect ratio that you're looking at. And if it's just more of the same, if you just end up with just all horizontality in your image, Well, unless you're going for something minimalist and abstract, which is, like an entirely different conversation, you need some verticality. You need something that disrupts that energy and that flow in order for that super wide aspect ratio to feel balanced. But there is one panoramic image that I created which actually turned out kind of okay, when most of the time they turn out kind of poorly for me. And it's this one that I captured on the coastline of the Pacific Northwest a couple of summers ago. Now, the reason I think this panoramic image works is because I was able to get some vertical geometry into the shot. Because when you look at this image, you can see that there is a strong, very dominant, very present horizontal horizon line running almost entirely across the entire width of that super wide panoramic aspect ratio. But because I have that verticality of the line of water that is running up the right side of the image, and of course I have the verticality of those sea stacks in the back, having those vertical lines and elements within the shot disrupts the tension. It minimizes the energy and it brings it down and creates more balance and harmony within the frame, so that then the aspect ratio and the shape of it doesn't feel quite as wide as it actually is. It's almost like it's minimizing it, and it's almost bringing it in to an appearance that actually looks natural. Because with so many panoramic images I've created, it's obviously a panoramic image. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's sometimes I look at it and it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's just a super long, super wide image without a lot of contrast, without anything visually interesting about it. It's just a lot of horizontal lines. It's kind of boring. But when you have some verticality in there, when you're able to mix it up and find some balance, then the frame doesn't feel as wide, and then the panoramic image actually kind of works. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please show your appreciation by giving this video a thumbs up down below. It really does help. And while you're down there, also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, if you'd like to keep in touch with me and you would like to see more videos like this one in the future. I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much, everyone. See you next time.